Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for All You Can Eat Chelsea. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Listen, guys, it's been an interesting couple of games since we last spoke. We got absolutely clapped up by Brighton, and then obviously we managed to beat Zagreb, and the scoreline looks like we snuck past them, but really it should have been another battering just in our favor. Younes, bro, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's funny. Last time we spoke, we were all like, hoping that things would be picking up and whatnot, and then we get smashed by Brighton. Thankfully, yesterday happened, because if not, this episode would have been catastrophic. So,
yeah,
and we got to look forward to Arsenal. So, yeah, I'm all right. Personally, I'm good, but I'm all right. I'm nervous.
No, you're not all right at all, mate.
I can hear it in your voice, bro.
Yeah, you're not all right. Here comes therapy session. Miz, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Obviously, me personally, I'm feeling all right, but I've been watching quite a bit of both your videos, and yeah, a bit of a strange place we're in at the moment, aren't we? Like,
confusing.
The Younes's video for that Brighton fan, that was quite interesting. Matisse with his review for the past game, for the Brighton game. I'm in hell.
Oh, your review was fantastic. Oh my God.
I'm in hell. That was quite funny. And,
oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about
that. Yeah, with the fire, that was quite hilarious. But
ambiance was set.
But
you were hitting one-liners like expressions the whole video. Can I just say?
Bro, I was fuming, because do you know what it is? Yeah, I think when you do a watch along, it emphasizes the beatdown, because when you're watching it, I was watching it on Twitch usually. We had our own little community, maximum like 500 would just come gather as a Chelsea community and watch this onslaught, and we would all kumbaya and move on with our lives, together in unison. I go to YouTube now because obviously Twitch wants to change their payout, the dickheads. And I come to YouTube, and suddenly now we're doing 2,000, and I'm like, where did all you bastards come from? Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. They only come for the L. It's mad, and yeah, getting clowned, and it's just sad. It's absolutely sad, and yeah, that. And you know what was worse about that is that I did the preview with Ben. Me and Miz did the All You Can Eat episode when Younes was away, and I had promised to go on his podcast the morning after 10 a.m. And I said, wow, I didn't expect that I would be coming on here with a 4-1 deficit to my name. So, yeah, it was a shocking day all around, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
But do you know what? I hope this is not just therapy, but we get to really talk real, because I think both of you boys talked some real stuff post that match. And I don't think we should shy away from that kind of stuff. I think today would be fantastic to bring some of our concerns to the table. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, first of all, I want to start with Chilwell as well, because Chilwell is now out for I don't know how long. I don't know if there's any confirmation this morning on how long he's going to be out for, but it doesn't look good. It
doesn't look good at all.
When you see him kind of like borderline tears, he was holding his hand.
He couldn't walk.
Couldn't walk.
For a hamstring injury, that's not normal. You can still walk on it.
Yeah.
So that's telling me minimum 4-6 weeks, kind of.
Some people were saying 12.
6 more.
Some were saying 12.
I reckon it could be surgery or something.
Oh, Jesus.
You can't walk on it. That's mad.
And boys, even when he was on his crutches, he couldn't move that leg. Like, it was shot. It was done. Do you know what I mean? So
muscle could be.
Forget about running. Like, let him walk first, and then he can think about running. So
yeah. So. Yeah. It's a shame for him, because he didn't clock up any minutes at the Euros. No, you're not going to go to the World Cup, that's for sure. Setback after setback, very PTSD kicking in, because obviously last year, same time, it was Reece James and Chilwell that got injured, and we was top of the league with Tuchel, and then that was the kind of the downfall of the whole team. And now, once again, you can see that they're out injured a second year in a row at the same time period. So. Yeah, not looking good, bruv. But listen, I've seen a few comments here and there. They're saying, Matisse, why are people saying Potter out? What's happening? Why are people doing these things, Matisse? Where is this coming from? Please help us, Matisse.
Matters, help us.
Matters, smart guy. Bro, I've got so many nicknames. I actually read them all out last night. I came up to about 15. Gremlin, Virgin, Nerd, Smart Guy, Mattress, Matisse, MAH. Bro, it was ridiculous. But I said, you guys have been clearly spending too much time on Twitter. You come over here to me and you ask for help as to why you're hearing these silly things. I said, you're obviously on Twitter. It's the only place this shit exists. And I'm currently taking a hiatus. I'm dropping in every now and then, but I'm really not online or active too much. And I'm borderline ready to sell the account, but I'm not going to just yet. Because I feel like I haven't maximized my profit. So, Miz, Potter out. I mean, it's just foolishness, isn't it? I know we lost that game and it was embarrassing, and these things, you know, are tough to take as a fan, but the guy needs time. He needs windows. He needs fundamentals of the team to be fixed. So many things before we could start. I mean, I wouldn't even start thinking along them lines anyway, but it's just embarrassing for me, bro.
Yeah, no, it was quite mad. I saw in my watch along as well for the Brighton, so many just started saying Potter out, Potter out, Potter. I'm like, wow, like, really? That's your level of patience. That's your threshold. Like, just off the back of one defeat and you're Potter out. And people were genuinely putting statements as to why they're Potter out. Like, all of a sudden they have statements ready. Like, it was as if it was in their drafts. Like, I'm thinking, you've been thinking about this, haven't you? And
they've had it sat there when it's released. Club statement.
Yeah,
this is my reasoning.
Boys, do you remember the Athletic dropped that Lampard article 30 seconds after full time? Like, I'm like, you dirty rats! You had that article written 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It was strange. I can't. There's no way I can entertain Potter out. Like, under what basis, man? Under what basis? However, I do want to reiterate one thing, which Younes touched on his last video for the Brighton fan. And this isn't going towards Potter out. No. I'm talking about concerns. Like, he does need to get a hold of a few things here. Like, in the takeaway yesterday's victory in the Champions League, over the past few games, he's been making changes after 35th minute, after half time, whatever the case is. It's clearly he's getting a few things wrong, and that's why he's making the changes and he's having to make them early. Even some of his substitutions look a bit strange. Some of his starting lineup, even against Zagreb, like, I'm thinking, against Arsenal, you better not talk about fatigue because you played everyone against Zagreb. Like, fatigue will not cut it anymore against Arsenal. So you had a chance to play all these other players you didn't do. So look, there is no way we're going to be a manager out. There is no way. This manager will stay unless something catastrophic happens. We get very close to relegation. Only then he's probably going to be out. I don't even think, to be honest, if he's outside of top 4, I don't think he'll get the sack. I think he'll continue. He'll be given the windows, and to be honest, probably rightly so, man. Rightly so. If you want to build something, it probably needs to be like that. But I think we need to be a bit weary about some of the fundamentals, because sometimes it feels like, yeah, okay, we're more direct, but some of the things that he does, back three, wing backs, is it any different to what Tuchel was doing with?
I think it is. I think it is. I mean, when he's playing Sterling and Pulisic as wing backs, I think I've never seen Tuchel ever do that. I mean,
Pulisic played as a wing back. For Callum Hudson-Odoi used to play for a wing back as a wing back.
But two at the same time.
Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think, also the left side once played for Tuchel as a wing back.
Yeah.
The thing is, even with that, they're down as wing backs, right? Under Tuchel, they would be wing backs. And we all know they're wing backs. Like, Pulisic was playing as a proper wing back, and we're like, not sure you can do this. Yeah. Under Potter, and even he said it, he's like, they're not wing backs, they're wingers. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so if we've done that, then we've got 3 defenders on the pitch.
Yeah. That's the way the
risky
boldness comes in.
That's even more bold than playing them as wing backs.
Yeah. He said their job wasn't to track back and defend, really. So that's not Tuchel at all.
But you know what the strange thing is, boys?
That's even more like.
Have you heard the recent comments in regards to Sterling, though? What Potter said? He's like, Sterling's not used to a back three. He's not used to defending off the ball in a back three or in a back four, whatever the case is. I'm like, why are you saying that then?
Why is he playing it then?
Yeah, like why are you saying that he's going to have to track back? Like, if you honestly think your role for those positions is just to attack, but then you're off air, like outside, you're saying, nah, they do need to defend in a back five. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not really understanding everything that's going on at the moment.
I mean, for me, usually the centre backs split and then those wingers push up. And if you've got the midfield to be compact enough, similar to like Liverpool, they'll hopefully cover those wide areas. And we had 4 central midfielders on against Brighton, which is why I was so shocked about how the midfield just got destroyed intensity-wise. We had Loftus-Cheek, we had Kovacic, we had Gallagher, we had Mason Mount. That 4 versus McAllister, Caicedo, and Pascal Gross, I'm pretty much expecting them to deal with that, but they didn't. They got bopped. I didn't, I like the fact that he played a lot of central midfielders. I thought in my preview, overload the midfield, similar to what Tottenham did when they played Basuma, when they played Højbjerg and Bentancur. They played a 3-5-2 and they locked up Trossard. Never heard a peep from him. They beat them 1-0. It wasn't the prettiest game, but they did their job. I was expecting Chelsea to do similar. Obviously, now the wing-backs were 2 attacking. The only thing he could have done is maybe play Azpilicueta, but to be honest, I don't really want to see Azpilicueta too much, to be honest, this season. I don't think he was great last night. Again, it's just kind of...
he started panting after 20 minutes. It was like...
Well, he also lost out on the header, isn't it? I came across in the first place for the goal. So I don't really want to see Azpilicueta, and I don't think Potter really wants to use him either. And I don't blame him because he's clearly past it. So when you haven't got a right back, a designated right back in your squad now, outside of Rankin in the PL2 team, this is the kind of shit that's going to happen. You either move Loftus-Cheek out of midfield and sacrifice that area, or you play a winger out there. So I do feel like Potter in this game, the Manchester United game, with the fact that obviously he had Kovacic who's injured and he had to bring him on even though he's not fit. He had no Koulibaly, so he has to go to a back three of Cucurella. I do feel like his hands are tied to a degree in terms of the amount of tactical flexibility he's able to show us with some of these players either not being good enough, which we already knew, hence why we wanted them to probably go in the summer, but we were giving out sympathetic emotional contracts. And B, obviously, a few injuries. I think Koulibaly being back now is important. We can move to a 4, which is good. But yeah, listen, he has made errors for sure in his lineup, but I do think it's mainly for me. I'll put it towards like just the personnel that I'm seeing available. Even when I'm looking at team selection, I'm like, okay, yeah, I wanted maybe that, and that's about it. It's not 6-7 changes that I'm looking at thinking, oh, this is way off what I wanted. It's like 1 or 2 players. Even last night, I was saying to Younes before we went on, a lot of people were saying, oh, this lineup stinks, it's too strong. And listen, I didn't really like the lineup either. I would have preferred to see some more young players. When you take into account Carney's on individual training, he's not going to get risked. It's only really Broja that was really going to start. He's not going to play Lewis Hall at left back. So he could have maybe played him in midfield. But is he going to play Lewis Hall next to Zakaria, who's making his debut? Probably not. That would be a little bit messy. And Rankin, now that I look back on it against Oysic, you know what? Probably best not to throw him in there right back against him, because that left forward there scored against us in the other fixture, and he obviously got the assist for this one, and he's a problem. Every time he plays it against any English team, he's scoring or assisting. So it's not easy. It's not easy as a manager, and this is why I sympathized with Tuchel, and I'll do the same with Potter. I think the shouts are ridiculous. Like, the guys had barely any time to even train the players, let alone rubber stamp any sort of philosophy. So,
you know what I think part of the thing is, I reckon if Roman was still here and we had Graham Potter, these amount of games, people wouldn't be saying Potter out now because they just know it's not happening. Like, even if Roman was ruthless as he was, he wouldn't sack someone after 10 games. He just wouldn't. You know, it would be a case of going through Christmas, going through probably the whole season, see where we finish, and everyone knows that. And then after that, okay, we're going to have to make an assessment. If we finish at the top 4, for example, chances are, sorry, see you later. But for now, the fact that...
Bro, we were unbeaten until the weekend.
Exactly. This is the thing. The point I'm getting to is the fact that Tuchel got given what apparently he wanted in the summer, and then just as the season was about to start properly, well, you're sacked. See you later. You know, I think it's created a preconception in people's head that, oh, you know what, we can just, get a manager in. That's not working. We cool. On to the next one. I think some people actually believe Todd Bowley is going to be doing that. I don't know. I don't think it would happen. And as you said, even if we were to finish just outside the top 4, we really don't know what Todd Bowley's about yet. In that,
I don't
aspect.
think he'll get sacked.
I don't think he would though either.
But what I don't get is that the two teams that are currently first and second have had long-term appointments. Arteta's a long-term appointment from Arsenal. They've gone through the absolute crap to keep him there. Back-to-back 8th place finishes. Well, I was like, how are you not sacking this guy? It's ridiculous. Pep, we already know long-term. And before that, for Liverpool's demise, which is beautiful, by the way. Wow. Klopp, long-term appointment. So what short-term appointment has been near the top of the league in the last 3-4 years? None. So I don't understand where this consensus comes from in the Chelsea fan base, where it's like, oh, we can fix this by just getting a new manager in. Clearly, we can't. We've been doing that for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and we've been nowhere near title race. So isn't it now time to stop that kind of mentality and learn how to go with the rough, with the smooth, and actually have some patience? Because we just got bopped off of the pitch by a team that literally is Potter. That's what he created. So surely, if anything, that should, if this was any other defeat, I think it would hurt me more. But seeing what the end product looks like, basically, makes me say, do you know what? Yeah, you can take a little bit extra on the delivery time. No problem. I see the quality of the product you're trying to produce. Hopefully, we can get some of that later on. Do you know what I mean? I know it's going to take a couple more months, probably more months, maybe towards the end of the season. But yeah, I'm happy to see that.
But see, Matisse, that's the thing. And this is what I asked in my live a few days ago. And I want to ask you both, Matisse first, is that, can you stomach it? Have you got the stomach to perhaps come 6th or 7th? I'm hypothetically talking. We could potentially come 4th this season still. But can you both stomach 2 years in a row, let's just say, and then the 3rd year we really kick into gears? Can you both stomach 6th or 7th finishes?
I took 10th. I took 10th and I didn't walk away from the sport. I wanted to.
Can you do back-to-back 10th?
No.
No chance. No chance.
Listen, I can definitely stomach a Europa League. Not saying that I want one, and that, listen, I'm still all guns blazing for that Champions League spot, and I think that should be the expectation. If we don't make it, we've failed, in my opinion, with the amount of money that we spent in the summer and the amount of players we brought in. Yes, a lot of them were to replace outgoing players that we screwed up on the previous window, or previous windows. But we should still, for me, we should be making top 4. If we finish 5th, I'm gonna get clowned. I'll be getting dragged. But after a few months, I'll be able to have to firm that and move on. Do you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. We can't be too spoiled. But at the same time, like I said, I would prefer not. I hate the Europa League with a passion. Until we win it, then I love it. I think best thing on the planet. So yeah, I mean, you'd have to firm it. I mean, no one ain't walking away from a football club because we finished in Europa League. Them Bolton Wanderers and Portsmouth fans will tell you otherwise. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, what's going on over there, mate? you sick in the head? So yeah, I mean, listen, but I don't for 1 second start to think about Europa League, because I still think we can qualify for the Champions League. But I do believe that, in the January window, we do need to get, unless Zakaria is going to be seriously important now. The only thing I have is, why does it take this long, Younes? Like, we'll never know, will we, why it took this long to see Zakaria, but he looked all right.
Didn't just look all right. He looked great.
Looked all right. Decent.
Pretty
good.
Thought he was fantastic.
He was.
And it's now given us a lifeline in midfield. I understand it's one performance, right? There was a time when Bakayoko had a good game. So we remember how that went.
Tottenham away, Wembley. Oh, yeah. It was brilliant that day.
But overall, no, Zakaria yesterday was class. And I think it opens up an avenue in midfield to try, a different approach, to have a different profile of player in that midfield that can release others. I mean, even Jorginho had a little bit of license to go a bit more forward because Zakaria was there. And I'm like, this is great. This is new.
Yeah. Jorginho was like really trying to punch passes through the lines. I was like,
Yo. He was, yeah. And it was almost like because he had that protection. And I feel like, okay, Zakaria, no, not Zakaria, sorry, Zagreb. there were times where they looked really good, and there were most of the times they looked quite open. So, bearing in mind who we're playing against, I understand that. But compared to who we had in front of us, I think he had a great game, and it's a great place to start. It's a debut, and hopefully he keeps that up. But it was a top performance. For me, he was man of the match. I know Mason got it; he was definitely deserving of it. But Zakaria deserved it, I reckon, and so did Mace. Mace said so himself. Zakaria for me should have been man of the match, and I agree with him.
Yeah. No, I agree with him as well. I think Miz to come into a game. But no matter what, because listen, for the rest of the players, I say, listen, this you should be cakewalking this. I said it on my watch along. This is the kind of game where Solomon Kalou used to slap in a hat trick. Andre Schürrle used to slap in a hat trick. Like, come on, I'm not expecting the starters to be struggling here. This is where the rotation players usually have 5 out of 5 performances, and we don't even blink an eye. But for him to come in and play well is different for me. The context is very different because that's his first club bit of football since last season. So, what did you make of it?
Sensational, man. I actually tweeted out that that's probably his farewell match. We're all going to celebrate seeing his farewell. And then I quote tweeted that once he scored, and when he was playing, I was like, football's a humbler. Football is a humbler. Look, I had low expectation because I didn't want to set myself up for something really gargantuan and then get disappointed. So I set myself like, okay, I know he was probably going to start. If he didn't start that, then wow, you don't need to be in this football club. He started, and he's given us a different dimension. But as Younes said, one game, I'm calm. I do want to see him against quality opposition and see exactly how he moves around and how he defends and protects our players. But some of the things that he did, especially defensively off the ball, some of his tackling, some of his interceptions, some of his ways of shielding. And the other thing that I really liked is the goal that he scored. I liked how he was just at the edge of the box, waiting for that second ball to arrive. How many times we've said previously, oh my God, why is that space empty? So
should never be
times.
Empty.
Ball falls in. That's when the likes of Lampard, Ballack, and the greats back then, they were pouncing on that. They knew the second ball was going to fall there, and it was good to see that Zakaria was there, and it was good that he was attempting to do that quite often, to moving not too deep into the box, just hanging outside, waiting for that second ball whilst all the chaos was happening. And I think that's a smart sort of sign of a player that knows what they need to do and what their role is in the match. I was actually worried when someone was saying he went off and he looked injured or something. He was grabbing onto his leg somewhere, but looks like it's cramp. And then post match, he said that he's ready for his next mission. Do you know what? I think he's put on a bit of a. He put his hand up for the Arsenal game. I really think he has. So, and also, Jorginho's performance, I know it's Champions League again. I want to see him do that in the Premier League more often. But it has enhanced by having someone like Zakaria. It's just allowed him to be a little bit more expressive with his passing, which is good to see.
We need to decide how to say his name, though, because you said Zakaria. Younes said Zakaria. I said
Zakaria, and you said Zakaria.
You said Zakaria.
I've got 3 variations. I think we can all agree. Let's just call him Zach.
Let's just call him Zach.
Yeah. And shout out Zach from Chelsea TV as well. But we got 2 Zachs now. Do you know what I'm saying?
I got a mate called Zach, and I had to message him yesterday and thank him for the goal.
The reason why I say Zakaria is that's a very common name in my country in Bangladesh, like Zakaria. So that's how we say Zakaria.
Yeah, so it's just so big. I've gone between my version and Younes's version. But I've just now started just saying, listen, I'm just going to say Zakaria. I'm sticking to that now. But hopefully one day he'll tell us exactly what to say. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he just said he's ready for his next mission, I find that fantastic. That's because do you know what? I have my reservations over throwing him in against Arsenal, of course, because it's a whole different beast. A whole different beast, you know. I even seen it after he scored, people in my chat saying, we should keep him permanently. I said, what? I said, is this all it takes? Some of you have no chill. Like you have no chill. You're just ready to. You're down for anything. Do you know what I mean? Like raw. Let's give it a moment, shall we? God damn, it's his first game, but to throw him against Arsenal, is a big responsibility. You're going up against the Odegaards, the Thomas Parties, the Xhakas. They're in form. They're top of the table. You know, Saka's going to be playing that game. He's going to be back fit. Martinelli, Jesus. To be honest, when you look at Arsenal's starting 11, there is no real weakness that we could possibly look at and say, yeah, there isn't.
It's mental.
They're playing well. Everybody's playing well. There's no
maybe
weakness.
the goalkeeper, Ramsdale, but that's a slight weakness. Like I'm talking about.
Clutching at straws, I think, for us there.
Yeah.
There's no weakness.
They've not looked this powerful since
all the
days of Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, bro. And
Burgundy boys. Yeah.
It's crazy that, and we have to be honest here. I think going into Sunday, we're at the bridge. But I think for the first time, we're the underdogs.
They're favorites. Yeah, they're favorites. Yeah, for sure.
That's nuts. It's nuts. I don't know if that's going to pay off. If there's dividends on that, you know, when we go in as a favorites, maybe that's not good for us because recent results against Arsenal haven't been fantastic. Lobo, he's going to hell. He's going to hell.
It's hell time.
I can't believe this. What are you saying to me?
He's gone there.
He's in hell. He's in hell now.
He's in hell.
What are you saying? You just said they're favourites. Oh my God. Oh, this is just so sad. This is so sad.
It's funny. You look like an Arsenal channel now. So that's great. But it's nuts, yeah. And I don't know if that's gonna pay off. Maybe I don't know if it's gonna be a case of if we're the underdogs, maybe the lads feel like they've got nothing to lose and they'll give it everything, and then we end up winning, maybe. But Arsenal's quality right now is scary. So,
Miz, I mean,
bro,
tell a scary story about Arsenal, please. Go ahead.
I literally came off a live just before joining here, and some fans, there was at least a good handful that were very upset with the way I was talking about Arsenal. They're like, stop praising them. Stop. I'm like, I'm not praising anyone. I'm just stating the facts because I was talking about Martinelli versus Azpilicueta, Saka versus Cucurella, and all the other movements they have in midfield. The amount of the way they will stretch us out, and few people were getting annoyed by me saying, I'm just saying what they have. Like, and this other person came in and said, "Means you're acting like they're better than us." Yeah, they are better than us. Top of the table. This is not a joke. Like, you know, you can have tribalism and whatnot, but have you seen the table? They're like 11 points ahead of us.
For all those people out there, you need to wake up, all right? I'm shining the light on you. Here you go. Wakey, wakey. Do you know what I'm saying? Police is at your door. They are currently on form better than us. The table shows. It doesn't lie.
Better than everyone.
Better than everybody. Right?
They're better than everyone.
They're playing better than City. They got Haaland on 17 goals.
Do you know what, boys?
Wake up.
Honestly, Martinelli, would you guys agree? Probably the best left-sided winger at the moment in the Premier League.
Yeah, hands down.
I can't see anyone better than him at the moment.
I mean, no.
Saka, probably one of the best right-sided as well, and creative winger as well.
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus is a very good, whatever you want to call him, 9.5, 10, whatever.
If it wasn't for Haaland, everyone would be looking at Jesus.
I wanted him.
And then Odegaard in the middle is class with his passing. Xhaka moves in late into the box, creates that extra man. Partey can, launch shots from outside the box. Like this is, and then every player, like their left back will come into midfield. Their midfield will push forward.
Yeah.
Like everyone is switching around very nicely. Do you know what I mean? So
remember Gerard Moreno? This is what I want to see on Sunday. Twerking, parties, arriba! This is what I want to see.
You can just tell Matisse does this in his spare time. He's just sat there, just playing with the lights and going, "Yeah, I like this."
But what other lights can you do? That's mad. I didn't know they had all these options.
The lights, man. I could do all the lights. You know what I mean? I got blue is the color, football is the game. I got the Norwich one. You know, let's be having ya. I got pink.
Let's be having ya.
When my girlfriend wants to play PlayStation, potentially, I got another blue one. I got a yellow. Do you know what I'm saying? I got a red for when we're in hell. I got it all. Do you know what I mean? I got everything. I could have a party in here if I want to. I got this.
Oh man, we're going
specifically.
This is chaos. This is
I got
if
this
we're down
specifically for Gerard Moreno. Yeah, I got this for Gerard Moreno because I wanted to interview him one day to ask him how it's all going after the transfer window and all of that dancing and twerking that he was doing. Oh, we signed Rafinha. Oh, we signed Koundé. Oh, we signed this guy. Oh, we signed that guy. You know, they're doing all of his twerking, all of his dancing. And I wanted to speak to him because obviously they're in the Europa League now. So I thought, let me have a word. I was checking on him. But
by the way, Europa League is lit.
It is.
Turn my lights. Europa League is more interesting than the Champions League.
Feels like it, isn't it? And look, we play Arsenal on Sunday, but if Arsenal get Barcelona in the Europa League, I'm praying Arsenal do us a favour and slaughter them, please.
Do we really want Arsenal to win though?
Yeah, why not?
I'm not really sure if I want Arsenal to win.
Arsenal to win what?
Against Barcelona.
In Europa. I'm not really sure about that.
Not the whole thing, just Barcelona.
Do you know what? If I want Barcelona to go out as soon as possible, because I know financially they can't handle that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Then set Arsenal on them, basically.
Yeah. Like the more financial troubles Barcelona run into, the better. I'm not gonna lie. It's become that now.
But Arsenal no trophy though, like not to win.
Yeah, of course.
After that, they get knocked out.
No. More than you can believe. No.
We can't have Arsenal with a European trophy.
No.
Paradigm would shift. Like we'd have earthquakes in London. It wouldn't be good.
So you guys are obviously telling me the facts, right? Which I didn't want to hear, is that they are favourites. I've got previews coming up with a few of their fans. It's going to be long. So with that being said, confident? What's the best case scenario in your realistic worlds? A draw.
I want to win.
Best case scenario, yeah. Best case scenario is the lads somehow show up on Sunday, and
somehow,
and from minute one just blitz, and we get an early goal, and everything shifts, and Arsenal panic, and then we get a second goal, and everyone's like, "All right, we're going to do this," and then we win the game.
Younes, we've got.
But that could be wishful thinking.
Brentford draw, Man United draw, Brighton loss. Younes, this has got to be a W. Like I'm sorry to break it down, boys.
Yep, you're right.
This has got to be a W.
We got Newcastle after that as well, so
this has got to be a W.
It has to be.
This is the thing, but we're playing against, for me, the hardest team in the league right now, who are on mad form. And as Matisse alluded to, the way that they play at the moment is insane. It's something that we've not seen in Arsenal for years. The way that they're able to link up so unpredictably, that there's patterns that just emerge. All of a sudden, the player's meant to be in a certain space. Nope, he's not there. He's shifted over there. Somehow, the player's seen him and the ball's now with him. And you can't keep up. It's how we've been waiting for our team to play and our team to start moving the ball. And when you see Arsenal move, it's almost like they're like a pack of wolves. As soon as they get past the defense, they get past that first line, that first barrier, you just have a wave of like 6 Arsenal men just... And you can't stop it. It's unpredictable. It's great. It's great as an Arsenal fan, I'm sure. But when you look at us, we're a bit slower. We take that extra time. We take that extra touch. We sometimes, instead of going for the forward option, okay, we'll go sideways. We'll give a bit of time for the opposition to get into position. And it's with Arsenal, they've somehow, in such small time, mastered how to just boom, 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 chance on goal.
Yeah.
And it's lethal. And I feel like my worry is we can't keep up with that speed. That's my concern.
Have you seen Brighton when we played against them?
That's exactly it.
One player, one touch, pass. One touch, pass. 2 touch, that's it.
Yeah.
No, you will barely see any Brighton player taking more than 2 touches. And that's a sign of a team that is so drilled at knowing where their players are. 2 touches, boys. That's it. That's all. I'm pretty sure their manager, and I'm pretty sure Graham Potter would have said, any more than 2 touches, wages are getting deducted. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So it's up to you. It's up to you. You want to take the third touch?
It's going to cost
Accountant, payroll. Yep, deduct. You know what I mean?
You saw what their manager said after that game anyway. Like how for the first 25 minutes, yeah, they were fantastic, but we could have played better.
That's
won
scary,
4-1
bro.
against us. Like we could have played better. After the 25 minutes, yeah, we could have done better. We could have been sharper. I'm like, bloody hell. You know, like that's how it's like the what was it? Was it the Chalobah own goal? Was that the second or the third? I lost track.
That's the third. That was the third.
Casado with a defense splitting passes. Yeah.
There we are. Why did that pass make it through? And why was the weight so perfect? And why was the run not spotted?
Yeah.
And it's those things. Whereas I remember in that game later on, Kovacic tried to execute the same thing and it went out for a goal kick.
Yeah.
You know, it's those little details. Why can't we master that? We're meant to. You know, Arsenal seem like they're there. That's just what concerns me, because I feel like sometimes when we're defending, the awareness is a little bit slow. Our reaction time is a little bit slow, and the opposition are a bit too quick. Arsenal right now are probably the fastest team in the league.
They are much quicker than Brighton. Brighton's scary. They're even quicker.
Yeah. I mean, Kepa's not going to play. He's obviously out. I think he's on crutches due to a precaution with his foot. Mendy will go in goal. Azpilicueta versus Martinelli terrifies me. I think Azpilicueta has fallen. He's fallen. I mean, I said it when we gave him the new contract, and I tried to say it on Twitter, and they came after me, so I took it down out of you know, sake of my mental health, because I knew he was going to come and tweet later. You know, when Aspie tweets, if you said anything bad about Aspie before that in the last 12 hours, you better just hang it up, because you ain't going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So I said, you know what, let me take this down, because I know Aspie's going to tweet about his new contract and he's going to be delighted. So I said, you know what, I'm not asked. You know, I'm not fighting this battle on Twitter. I don't give a shit. You know, you guys will learn the hard way. So, you know, everybody was, you know, waxing lyrical, even though the whole season, we all unanimously decided that this was the end. Yeah. We can see the decline is very clear. Yeah, it's time to pack it up. It doesn't take long for everybody to change their minds. And now we're back in the situation again where, really, I don't want him to play against Arsenal, against Martinelli. I don't. Even though he's our only option, I'm not really trying to see that. From a build-up play standpoint, he's limiting. And defensively, I just don't see how he's going to deal with that much pace. But if we don't play him, who do we play?
Exactly. We ain't got a right back. Which goes back to the point, how was this not addressed? We spoke about this during the window. We even spoke this about last January.
It's mad.
It can't. But the thing is, Younes, for me, is that it can't ever get addressed if we keep giving out new contracts. This is why I actually would rather just not give out new contracts to these players that are coming towards the end, and just let them go and leave gaping holes in the team. Leave the holes there, because then they have to be addressed. You can't not buy a midfielder when you need one, when it's literally a must. If you give new contracts, it's like, it's not priority. We'll see later on in the window. Maybe we'll get one. We'll decide then. You know, no. I'd rather have no DM in the squad. If that's what it takes to get a DM, then no DM in the squad. If it takes one right back in the squad to get a right back, then have one right back. I don't care. I'd rather do that, because when you give out these new, you know, sympathetic contract, all it does is just covers up. It's just a cover up, and then we're in situations like we are now. So I don't know. Martinelli's gonna. I don't see how he doesn't rip us a new one on that side. I feel sorry for Trevor, because Trevor's gonna have to have the game of his life, like he has recently. But he's gonna have to be incredible. Well, I mean, would you go for back 3, back 4, like?
Yeah, I'm thinking you're gonna have to double up with Chalobah and Aspie there. Like, I don't know how we are really going to be able to negotiate those battles with them if it's a back 4. Like, if it's a back 4, okay, so Chalobah, let's say, is the right-sided CB, and you've got Azpilicueta, but then there will be a massive hole between the two CBs.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a very mobile and robust CB, and I'm very sure it's going to be Thiago Silva, all due respect, like we saw when the pace is electrifying, even the best of the best like Thiago Silva can get rattled. And I don't know if I'm ready to expose him like that. Do you know what I mean? He's still a class defender. I think for me, really, a back three, and with Koulibaly, Silva, Chalobah, Cucurella as the left wing back, and Azpilicueta as the right wing back.
And then you're leaving that space for Xhaka. If
Bruh.
you do have those, because Xhaka's got a lot of goals this season.
Yeah.
Xhaka loves that underlapping run.
Give them the ball. Give them the ball. I don't want it.
This is what I hate.
We'd get ruined.
I know what's going to happen is they're going to come here and they're going to dominate possession like Man United.
They will. I
hate that. But that's exactly what's going to happen. And this is the finite differences. If we had a Reece James or a right back that we trusted to deal with Martinelli, Martinelli is not world class. He's not world class.
Yeah.
We should have a player that is equipped with dealing with Martinelli one-on-one, and that's it. So we don't have to sacrifice the whole formation. So now we have to switch to a back three purely because we know we can't deal with Martinelli one-on-one. That's sickening because he's not world class. He's good. He's not world class though. Shouldn't have compromised the whole system.
He's got good history at the Bridge as well, so I think he's going to come into that game with confidence.
Reece James was able to take care of Vinicius Jr., who is probably the best left-sided winger.
Yeah.
So, all due respect to Martinelli, I think having Reece James he'd be able to go 1v1 with that guy, like take care of him. But not having that, it's scary, man. It's going to be tough.
So doubling up on Martinelli and doubling up on Saka?
Yeah, potentially.
This is the thing. If we can't go to a back four, because I think we'd be exposed. With Aspie at right back, we'd be exposed. Yeah. But even if we go to a back three, it means we're taken away from what we would be attacking with.
For sure. Yeah.
And it would mean that probably Arsenal are going to end up with more of the ball. And I think, yes, defensively, that probably protects us a little bit better, but it's...
Younes, it will have to be a Man United job, the way Man United played them. Man United didn't see enough of the ball.
Yeah,
it'll have to be like that. Yeah. But
because
my issue is we don't have players to counter either. Like, putting counter.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. I'm trying to think about how Aubameyang doesn't get enough touches on the ball in this game and gets so frustrated. Because I want Aubameyang to score. I really do. But if he's going to score, he's going to need... I mean, he hasn't even really looked too clinical recently. He was dreadful in the Salzburg game with his finishing. Last night, he wasn't particularly, I mean, he had that one shot that hit the bar that was good. But apart from that, he looked very, very scruffy with everything that he did. The
entire attack, though, it's the same issue with Chelsea. The entire attack just still looks flat. It's not, there's no punch to it. You get a couple of moments where, like I said it yesterday, 3 times out of 10, maybe you might get a blitz of lightning and it's like, whoa. But then that's it. You ain't seen that for half an hour. That's it. We're just waiting for the next time. It's like, waiting for that bus that shows up every hour. You're waiting, no matter what. And I think that's with Chelsea more times than not going forward. It's still a little bit too on edge. It doesn't look like it's flowing. It just looks like everyone's a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervous. They're on the ball. Pass. What do I do? It's still a little bit. It's not take the risk. You know what? I heard Frank Leboeuf the other day. Yeah, and sometimes what him and his colleagues on whatever platform they talk on, sometimes it's absolutely ridiculous. But for that point that he was talking about, he was right. He was like, this Chelsea team are not as free-flowing as it should be, and I feel like that there at times there are players that are just not willing to go and take the risk. It's always the safe options. Always a safe option. If the player's next to me, okay, cool, just take the ball. For the sake of just giving up the responsibility, or for the sake of, he's right there, okay, just give him the ball. Whereas in reality, if he had the ability to take the risk, maybe he thinks, if I take on this player, or if I try and get into that space, I might lose the ball, but if I try and get into that space, I'm going to open up a teammate that's right there, or something, just to open things up. Whereas more times than not, we just safe option. And I think that's what helps us rely on sideways and backwards and sideways and backwards and, waiting. And it's just, it doesn't help us going forward. It doesn't. We don't have that bite. Whereas we look at Arsenal, they have a bite. Man City, they have a bite. I feel that doesn't help us. And going into Sunday, where we're now looking at our defense and trying to think about how to protect our defense going forward or going on the counter attack, it doesn't look as lethal. So,
I agree with you. I think for me, it's just there is still imbalance. Zakaria could potentially bring that, maybe. I mean, would you start him, Miz, considering the fact that we could be working a lot off the ball, and just does this type of game suit Jorginho? I mean, Kovacic is obviously going to start.
Look, so we've established the fact that we.
It's difficult, man. It's difficult.
So we've established the fact that we'll go with the 3 at the back and the wing back. So do we want to play 2 in the midfield, 3 in the midfield, maybe just 2 up front, potentially just Aubameyang and Sterling?
Yeah, and that gives me shades of 3-5-2.
Yeah.
Against Man City at home, against Man United at home.
Yeah.
Where we just can't get the ball forward to the strikers, and they're isolated, they're cut off. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because it's like this is why I sympathize with Potter, because it's like you can do one thing and get it completely wrong in one regard and get it right in another part of the pitch, or you can get it right in this part of the pitch and get it wrong in the other part of the pitch. And this is where hindsight analysis just really does annoy me on Twitter, is because like it's like, oh, Potter, why did you do that? Why did you bring on Thiago Silva? Why did you do this? Bro, he's the manager. He obviously thought about it, and that's what he did. Like, there's definitely a logical explanation behind it. Do you know what I mean? It's for me, I'm not saying that he can't be wrong. Of course he can. Like, he's definitely made blunders. But when you see this team has this many issues in it, especially with the injuries, if the team's fully fit, it can do a job. But if it gets a couple of injuries to the wrong players, this team just becomes so inflexible. It's just so rigid, so restricted.
Yeah.
And it's like, even us picking the team now, it's like, we don't really like the team. We're just going to send them out there. I don't really like the team. Because it's like, do we focus on Arsenal's strengths and try and stop those, which we probably should pay respect to, seeing as they are top of the league? Or do we play to our own strengths and actually play Sterling out wide, but, actually play, Mason in a midfield 3 or Kai in a 10, etc. But then, I mean, he tried to do that against Brighton. Make no mistake, Potter tried to play attacking football against Brighton. He tried to put players on that pitch that would combine and would create chances. He had Sterling and Pulisic out there. He had the midfielders in there to try and soak up the pressure in there. And he got slapped up because he only had 3 defenders. Defenders. One of which is recovering from tonsillitis, as I said on the Big Six. So... And now he's forced to play. Cucurella, he's forced to play. He's not in good form. He's forced to play. Aspie forced to play on the. So you got 2 potential fullbacks that are not really at their A game, forced to play in this fixture.
This is what I've said a few times last season as well, that there's a concept of domino effect. Like, that right side, don't just think, that it's just that's the issue. Like, Aspie's only issue. No, by trying to compensate and cover for Aspie, you're then gonna have a domino effect. Yeah, you're unbalancing the entire team, because Chalobah now has to be closer to Aspie. Maybe a midfielder needs to be closer there. So already you've got a lot of focus there, and then you're leaving not enough, firepower elsewhere. Whereas if you had a Reece James there, not only you don't need anyone to look after Reece James becomes an attacking threat and a defensive stronghold. That becomes a positive domino effect. Yeah. Because of his effect, he then starts bringing positivity for the rest of the team. All of a sudden, you see players like Aubameyang getting a goal. You start seeing Sterling playing a lot better. You start seeing XYZ people playing a lot better.
Now, if that was the case in all of the 11, where all of them,
then you have a winning team.
Then you have a winning team, and this is the key. What you just explained there is literally hit the nail on the head. It's either players that take away from the team and that you have to look after and chaperone to the dance, or players that will take themselves to the dance. And players that are strong points and the foundations, the pillars of the team. And if we just set up our team, because that's what our team used to be, everybody was a strong point, everybody was a pillar. So then there was no weakness. So then really it was just like, I dare you to try and beat us because you're not going to. How are you going to beat us on set pieces when you got Ivanovic, Terry, Cahill, Ballack, Drogba, Alex? You could try it. It's cute. You're not going to get anywhere close to us. Like, look how big we are. We're huge. And then on the ball, technically we were brilliant as well. So it's like, but people have to be able to take away, and also we need to be able to have consistently fit players as well. You know, that's the only issue is that unfortunately Reece James is injury prone, and it is modern football at the moment where more and more players are starting to be given the injury prone tag because we're playing so many matches. But there's still some durable players out there in our team, thankfully, like the Mounts, etc. But we need to get away from having any more injury prone players recruited and any more players that have glaring weak spots in their foundation as a player. Because you're right, it does take away from the rest of the team, and it means that you have to cover for them and you have to look after them. So,
and the issue multiplies when you have players that are out of form as well. Like a lot of people are talking down on Cucurella now, and that guy is not a bad player. He's a very good player. He's just out of form. Yeah. So you already have to compensate for Azpilicueta, and then if you have to also compensate for Cucurella, it's difficult. It is difficult for Graham Potter to manufacture a winning solution. But as I said it earlier, this has got to be a W. I'm sorry. this is why Graham Potter, you're on 12 million a year. Like, find a solution. Find a solution. Find a weakness and hone in on that. More than anything, if I can see a brand of football that was a fighting kind of a brand of football and that didn't just fold to Arsenal Football Club, that actually made us proud. And recently, boys, we have been proud. Do you remember last season, the Real Madrid, when we lost in the semi-finals? You know, that even though we lost, it made us proud that the boys went out there at the Bernabeu, gave it all their best, and it was just literally the last few minutes. There have been instances where we've been made proud, even though we didn't get a positive result. So if I can at least get that, where maybe we had Arsenal on the ropes, but it was a draw, let's just
different story.
Different story. But if we fold, you know,
this one is going to sting Younes. You know,
this is the thing. I've said this, bruv. Like, that's a very good point, Miz, because when it's funny, I think some people have a misconception that, especially with all of us that, you know, talk about Chelsea and whatnot, we're not allowed to lose. No, we're not saying that. No. We are allowed to lose. We are going to lose. That's part of football. You're going to win, you're going to lose. It's standard. But there's a way of losing. There's a way of losing. And if you lose in a manner that you can be proud of, as you said, that happens. It's normal. If it was one moment, right, where whether it's a lapse of concentration or it's one mistake, or you gave everything in a certain amount of time, the level went down, complete tiredness, it is what it is, it happens, or it's a last minute freak goal, it happens, that's normal. But like that Real Madrid game, for example, we all came out of that going, oh man, we were so close, we should have won that, but you know what, proud of the lads because they absolutely smashed it. We lost though, but we're all happy, right? But there are games where you just needlessly just hand it over. And I can't take them. I hate those losses where you basically roll out the red carpet and just go, yeah, go on then. But why
that can't happen against Arsenal?
Why am I wasting my time? Exactly.
And if we get slapped up at home to Arsenal, I will genuinely be crying.
This is the thing. It's Arsenal. It's Arsenal. Now, it's not, for me, it's not a level of animosity as Tottenham, for example. That would be unforgivable. But it's Arsenal. And it's at home. You know, if they come to the bridge and do a madness on us, that as Matisse said, it stings. It stings because it's Arsenal, and it would be vice versa. If we went to the Emirates and wrecked them, you don't think they'd be absolutely fuming after the game? They'd be livid. Same way we'd be livid if and this is the thing. We used to do it for so long. We had dominance over Arsenal, and now it looks like it's shifting a bit. And because of the circumstances we're in at the moment and how Arsenal are playing, I'm worried. For the first time in years, I'm looking at Arsenal. I'm like, I ain't felt like this since Highbury.
Do you know what it is? Because our record is not good against them recently, but I was never worried.
Exactly.
All of the results recently of us not winning has always been a shock because they've been average. They've just been a team dwindling in 8th or 5th or 6th. And I'm like, how the hell didn't we beat them? But because they're so bad anyway, and they're not near us, I said, you know, who cares? Just whatever. Now, this is the first time, like you said, in ages where not only has the tables flipped, literally, we're in the position that usually this time of the year, we're actually usually at the top, to be fair.
And Arsenal normally 6th.
Yeah, usually Tuchel and Lampard were at the top of the table at this point. And then, obviously, Lampard had his Christmas and Tuchel had his injuries to the wing-backs and had his Christmas. But we're usually round about here. And Arsenal are usually just trying to recover from after losing 3-4 games at the start of the season. And then they're just trying to sort themselves out and climb up the table. So this is very much, it's being flipped on our heads. The switch has been flipped. So, yeah, even if we beat them, it's one of those weird situations where I can only be so shameless because they're still ahead of us by a decent points margin. But if we lose at home to Arsenal, it's going to sting differently because, especially living in London, whenever I'm outside and I go somewhere, anytime I'm spotted, it's always Arsenal fans. Every single time it's Arsenal fans. Every time. Without fail, Miz, I'm telling you, 99% of the times I'm stopped is Arsenal. Obviously, Big Six, but it's usually about Big Six, but it's literally always Arsenal. So I'm not going outside. I'm not going outside. You won't see me on them streets. If we lose this game, you won't see me on them streets. And to be honest, I might even call in sick.
From the world. He's calling in sick from the world.
Yeah, I caught COVID, guys. Caught it. I know it's out of fashion, but I caught it. So trust me, I'm telling you. So
you know what's mad with this? Because where we've been recently and the form that we're on, especially after the Brighton loss. If we beat Arsenal, cool, happy days. At that point, you can't ask for more. But the worry and what adds more pressure to this is we didn't get a result against Brentford. We didn't get a result against United where we should have, and we didn't. We didn't get a result against Brighton. We got annihilated. Now we got Arsenal. If we don't get a result here, our next game's Man City in the Cup. And then Newcastle away before we end for the World Cup. If it doesn't go our way, this could be peak.
Yeah.
Like it could easily end up 8th or 9th in the league table.
Newcastle away is a problem.
It's a problem. And I think many people are overshadowing that.
Yeah,
surely not. Newcastle are ahead of us.
They're 4th.
Newcastle slapped up Aston Villa and we struggled. If it wasn't for Mason Mount and Kepa.
Yeah.
Newcastle are. I don't know what I'm scared of more, actually. Because Newcastle, we're not good record-wise there either.
No.
And I have a feeling they're looking forward to that fixture.
Of course.
They're looking forward.
They're very quietly going for top 4. They took a point off of Man United at Old Trafford. They're very quietly going about their business. And remember, they got January coming up. They got money. They're probably going for the same targets we're going for. I'll take Bruno Guimaraes in a heartbeat. They got players that I want.
Matisse, do you know that feeling when someone's looking forward to you? Like, I can't wait till that guy comes up. I can't wait.
That used to be us.
I'm literally looking at Newcastle and they're like, really? They're just,
the Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the calendar out, boys, and they see the Chelsea and they got an X on it. Like, that's the one.
Do you remember what they did to Arsenal last season when they needed top 4? These lot of criminals.
Yeah.
Spanked them 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
and the players they've got, the acquisitions, how Eddie Howe's got them set up. As I said, they're moving in silence. No one's really paying much attention to them, and they're getting results.
Even recently they had a match against Man United, and I think they dominated possession against Man United at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was the case. They played against Spurs, and they were better. They were much better than Spurs. Obviously, they won. This is not
It's a late kickoff, by the way.
So it's like an evening match.
Under the lights at the St. James's with the crowd up after they've had
a
full belly of food and a nice bit of drink.
They are going to be buzzing. They will be buzzing.
The Geordies are going to be on a madness.
Yeah.
This is the
crazy.
thing.
See,
it all relies on that Arsenal game. Because if say we beat
do
Arsenal,
need to win. Yeah, we do need to win.
Momentum, I think, shifts.
Momentum shifts.
Even among the fan base, momentum shifts. If we don't, even if we draw, I think a lot of fans will take it.
I wouldn't take a draw. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, need a win, man. Need a win.
We need a win. We need a win. This is my point. Against this Arsenal team though, right now, it's
tough. Yeah, it's tough.
It's like our backs against the wall here.
If it's a draw, as we said, Younes, like a proud draw, like you played well, not like you parked the bus, Mendy's left, right, center, Spider-Man saves everywhere, Gabriel Jesus pinging in shots, and like we literally just hung on that kind of draw. I don't want that. Do you know what I mean? Because that kind of draw will set us up for a 6-0 loss against Man City. Because then Man City be like, now I want to pump you guys. You know what I mean? So this is why a good victory, a morale boosting victory is needed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. W settings only, as they say.
Yeah.
Well,
It's gonna be weird.
I mean, yeah. The chat will be shitting themselves after this episode. And rightly so.
We've just frightened everyone.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. I don't think we're the only one. Do you know what it is? Yeah, we don't try to on this show lie to you and give you this fake.
No.
Yeah.
Fake
Never
energy.
gonna do that.
We record this once. We press the button. We record it and we talk to each other. And we say exactly how we're feeling at the moment. So we're feeling like you. We're not here to give you this ultra outside perspective that you didn't feel going into the game and calm everybody down and, everybody relax. It's going to be okay. We got this. No, like...
We'll tell you the truth. If we're screwed, we're screwed. And if we're going to win something, we'll tell you we're going to win it.
We're just like you guys. Same thoughts are going through our heads. Trust me. Younes, let them know where to find you, bro. Pleasure as always.
Absolutely, man. This time next week is going to be a very interesting time. We would have already played Arsenal and Man City. Am I right?
Yeah.
So,
we would have.
I'll see you guys in the trenches. But in the meantime, looking forward to those games. You can find my perspective on Younes Talks Football, as well as all the latest and the ins and outs of what's going on, not just around Chelsea, but if anything major happens elsewhere, I'll give my thoughts. But in the meantime, we look forward to Arsenal, and then after that, we'll see how we come out of that. If we're still alive, then we look forward to Man City. So that's basically it.
And also, I just want to add this. If Chilwell's out for a long time, my Trossard propaganda is going to go through the roof for January. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't mind that as well. On top of that, with a DM. Yeah, Trossard, a DM, and a right back. Get it done. That would be incredible. That would be brilliant. You're getting a left wing back and a left winger all in one. And then you can move Sterling to the right. Oh, do it. Get it done. Miz, let them know where to find you, bro.
Yeah, the other side of the coin, much like everyone else, I think it's going to be quite exciting to see the upcoming matches and how we perform. And yeah, as Younes said, we'll see whether we are alive or not next week.
I'm so nervous. I'm actually so nervous for this match.
This is a huge challenge. It really is. It's a huge challenge for us. So hopefully the lads are up for it and understand it. And
Well, there you go. Guys, make sure you smash up the likes, leave your comments down below. I will have previews dropping, minimum probably 2, but my FIFA career mode is not going too well either. So, Chelsea on all fronts is very nerve-wracking times. We'll have Babs on soon though. And we'll start there and we'll work our way to Turkish and all these other mandem as well. So it's going to be long because I know he's going to have plenty of chest on the AFTV for me. So until next time, guys, big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.